Hello, Tawana.
Hi.
Welcome. What position are you applying for with us today?
Position in your math department.
Awesome. I had a chance to take a look at your resume and some of your background information. What is the highest level of education you've received?
Bachelor of Arts in Education.
And if I remember, you are qualified for Tennessee.
Yes.
Okay. What is your position at your most recent school?
I am an 8th grade math teacher.
Okay. What are your major responsibilities?
Well, I teach I teach 8th grade. I also teach 8th grade social studies at the moment. I'm certified to teach science. I also am a mentor for the new teachers coming in. And I'm also on the mentor committee, which serves to take the students who are at risk and try to help them throughout the year develop a plan to be successful behaviorally and academically.
Okay. Have you found ways to make teaching math more interesting, fun, or rewarding?
Yeah, I think so. Along the way, I think teacher directed, a lot of people have gotten away from that, especially in middle school. So we do a lot of hands-on, we do a lot of group activities, we do a lot of different creative things to, try to get their minds focused on math in ways that they can help them to remember it and actually want to learn it. So it's more student directed, more so than teacher directed now.
Can you give me a specific example of one of those areas?
I think just like the differentiation in the activities that we do. We do a lot of grouping. I work with, I co-teach, so I work with a special education teacher. I have a very high population of special education kids, so we have to find ways to differentiate, the learning from them, whether it's grouping them with higher level kids, to do peer tutoring, to do activities to where they have more hands-on, like I said before, activities, more than just, copying notes and working through problems. A lot of them need to be able to actually work through the process, whether it's task-oriented or whether it's something to where they're trying to figure it out on their own before you actually teach it to them. So there's different, variations, different ways that, we can differentiate the instruction.
Awesome. What's one major pressure you feel as an educator, and how do you deal with it?
I think the biggest thing is testing. Every year at the end of the year, the kids have to test. And the accountability for that is not only held by the students because it goes in their records, but also the teachers, they're evaluated. One of the pieces of evaluation at the end of the year has to do with your test scores. And I think that's a lot of pressure for a lot of teachers, and we feel that because throughout the year we have to test the kids a lot. They get really tired of it, we get tired of it, but it is necessary because we have to teach them how to test. So I think just a weight of the pressure of testing and the different ways that we have to test is probably the biggest thing.
So how do you deal with testing pressure?
Well, I try to make sure, number one, that my kids don't feel that pressure because they're the ones that actually have to take the test. I mean, we're both held accountable at the end of the year, but I mean, in order for it to be better for me, I have to make sure that they don't feel as pressured. So, even though testing a lot seems to wear them down, it also gives them different strategies to where when they do get to the test at the end of the year, they feel more comfortable. So throughout the year, I try to teach them little test-taking strategies to make things easier for them. So it does take off a little bit of the pressure. I try to put them in pressure situations throughout the year so that when they do get to that test, they don't feel as feel that anxiety as much, I could say.
How do you organize your lessons?
Well, Where I currently work, we have to turn in lesson plans every week, and they have a specific format that we have to follow. So I follow that format, and within that format, you have to think of the topic, you have to think of the different vocabulary that goes along with it, you have to think of what you're going to teach each day, you have to think of the questions that you're going to ask, the assessments that you're going to give. So that's something on a on a daily and a weekly basis that I have to think about.
Tell me about a time that you weren't pleased with your performance as a teacher.
I think that would probably have to do with, I've been teaching a while, so I think I've had a few lessons that have flopped. And I was really excited about and thought it was going to go a certain way, and it didn't, and I had to do some reflection, to go back and either drop the lesson as a whole or think about ways to make it better. And that's probably been the biggest, I would say, flop that I would have to go back and reflect on and redo.
Can you recall a specific incident?
I can tell you I don't remember the exact topic, but I remember there was one time where I did teach a lesson, and I realized at the end of the lesson I was stuck on this problem trying to explain it to the kids. And I remember in geometry, when I first taught geometry to an advanced group of kids, I actually hadn't had geometry since I was in high school. And so I had to teach myself before I actually presented the material to the kids, so I tried to stay a chapter ahead. And I remember this one particular lesson to where I had to teach a topic, and during that I got stuck in the middle, and I didn't know where to go. And I just had to, basically call it a day, move on, and then go home and kind of refresh my brain, because I realized that I was teaching it wrong. And then I had to come back the next day and kind of, just take them back through it again, because all the kids were confused. They had no idea what to do. And I didn't know where to go, and I was stuck. And of course, during the lesson, I didn't have time to go back and teach myself how I did it in the first place. So I just kind of had to go back and refresh my memory and then start over the next day.
Okay. So do you feel like you rectified that situation and the kids got it eventually?
It's happened a few times as a teacher, and sometimes you just get stuck and you have brain freeze, and you have to just kind of go a different direction and then come back to it the next day.
What's one approach you use when talking to parents?
One approach is just a direct approach, just to give them the information, try to lay it out. Try not to veer away from the topic at all. Just tell them exactly what they need to, what they need to know, and then end the conversation. Some parents I know I've talked to, I kind of have to ease my way into it, because some of them are real hostile, volatile, and so you kind of have to bring them down before you give them that information and try to talk positively about their child, because in some situations all they hear is the negativity. So in some situations I have to, even though it may be like a bad phone call, I'm calling about grades or behavior, and it's not good, I try to find something positive to say to the parents before I tell them the negative part, because they are so used to hearing the negative. So
how do you know if you're getting your point across to parents?
Usually by the end of the conversation, I try to make sure that they've understood everything, all of the information that I've given them, and make sure that they've, what I went in to tell them, that they're able to give that back to me at the end, to make sure they understood what I said to them.
So is there anything you would like to share with us to convince us that you're the ideal candidate for this position?
I absolutely love teaching, and I think that if you talk to my coworkers, if you talk to the administration, my spirit, I connect well with the kids. I feel like I do a really good job in teaching them the topic that they need to learn. Most kids hate math, at this point, you know. So I feel like I do a really good job in presenting the information to them, and even the most basic student who, you know, has trouble with math. I feel like I do a really good job of presenting the material. I feel like that I'm a team player. You know, pretty much whatever is required of me or my team or my school, I feel like I do. I put in my part, and I feel like that I'm a great asset to my team. So.
That's awesome. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't think so.
Well, thank you. That concludes our interview. Our staff will be getting with you to let you know the status of your interview, whether we decide to hire you or not.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your interest in this position.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You too.